Yeah, welcome everybody to today's interview. I'm today conducting with Laura Rayner, who's Senior Policy Analyst at the European Policy Center in Brussels, one of the most renowned research, I would say, institute here in Brussels. Laura, welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to speak to you.
Laura, you will be participating in our summer days also, which are coming up, and you will be leading and moderating together with Tommaso Grossi a workshop called "A Sustainable Safety Net: How to Prepare Our Social Protection Systems for a Green Future." What special social risks should be or must be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, it will be no surprise to anyone who's been paying attention to a lot of this discussion that around the green and digital transition as well. The risks at the moment of leaving people behind, despite all of the rhetoric about not doing that, are great, but also tied to that, then the risks of people disengaging from the process, which frankly is fundamental to success. And this is something that has to happen. It's not a negotiable. It's not a nice to have. We have to change our way of living, our way of operating into a more sustainable way. But to try and do that in a way that we're not exacerbating divides that already exist, that we're not creating new social problems, new economic problems. Of course, this is a massive juggling act. And so, I hope in our workshop we'll be able to reflect a little bit on how best we can do that, how we can actually make this transition a fair, a just one, how we can, not only not worsen inequalities that exist, but actually try and find the opportunities to tackle some of the inequalities that exist in society, to tackle some of the social problems that exist, not just in terms of inequalities between rich and poor, but also between those member states that have the financial power to, power ahead with the green and digital transitions, and those member states, those regions that perhaps don't. So I'm hoping that it will be an enlightening discussion, as much for us as for the participants as well.
As I said, you're participating in the summer days. It's a third edition of our summer days. I've had a couple of interviews also with some other participants, and another participant told me it's a good moment, also because the institutions are right now in a listening mode. Your expectation, you mentioned already, of course, you were looking forward to fruitful discussions and exchanges. Is there anything else I would say would be my expectations from the summer days?
Yeah, so I completely agree that I think probably more than any of your other summer days over this mandate, this is going to be an important one. In a way, it's a strange time in the mandate, in that we don't have the big policy packages coming out. There's no sort of big proposals, but as you said, the institutions are absolutely in listening mode in terms of framing their thinking for the coming mandate. So I think there'll be an awful lot of reflection on this mandate, and my goodness, is there a lot to reflect about in terms of what we've experienced over the last few years. But I hope as well there will be indeed a lot of strategic thinking for the coming mandate. How do we implement some of the things that we've tried to push through in this mandate? How do we foresee what may occur in the next mandate, and how do we try and prepare for that? I mean, for instance, of course, with the transitions, but also with the development of AI and the way in which that may shape our social and economic model, our social contract in the next mandate.
You've spoken of the next mandate. Next year, we have the European elections, 2024, on 6th and 9th of June, if I'm not mistaken. You're a young person. Why should people go to vote? Why should young people go vote?
I can only hope that people do. I mean, it's, I think, also with my background from the UK, though I don't suppose we were alone in this, the European Parliament elections were often being viewed as an opportunity to make a protest. If people did vote, they voted without too much consideration of the consequences of their actions, because it does feel somewhat more removed, albeit we all try to make it less so, but it does feel somewhat more removed from the day-to-day. People don't think it has necessarily a concrete impact on their day-to-day lives, though those of us working close to the institutions from Brussels can only see too well how much of an impact it can have, but also the risk in this mandate, as is at least currently predicted, of an even greater split across the parliament, far more extreme left or extreme right parties being elected. It will potentially paralyze the legislative functions of the EU, and the damage that could do at a time was so critical. I mean, I'm trying to reflect whether it always feels this critical or whether right now it just feels much more critical. But really, with Russian war in Ukraine, with the pushback against the transitional measures for the green and digital transitions, with still in the wake of the pandemic, and as I said, with the development of AI and the way in which that could shift society, having responsible and thoughtful leaders available to chart our legislative path over the next 5 years is going to be extremely important.
So a crucial moment in time. You sound very worried, but the idea also of the summer days is to bring a little bit light into these worries. And Laura, I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon on the occasion of the summer days. All the best to you and all the best to your work and the EPC. See you soon.